From the PSIA-AASI satellite studios in, of all places, Natchez, Mississippi, at the Natchez Grand Hotel, I'm George Thomas. You're listening to First Chair. Really excited about our guest today. Lyndsay Ward is going to be joining us. And Lyndsay, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? You are the Education and Certification Manager for Central Region. Give us a little bit of background on who you are.
Yeah, please. Absolutely, George. Thanks for having me. I am, just a small town Midwest girl. I started as an instructor at a very small resort outside of Madison, Wisconsin, teaching, through college. Kind of moved up through the ski school director, trainer role, went through, management within the resort, and really got involved in PSIA-AASI, started chasing certifications early on, and am now a member of the education staff, have been now for about 4 years on the snowboard side and the children's specialist side. So, and then now do some administrative work with the central office. I'm the education and certification manager for the Midwest region of PSIA-AASI, and really love that and enjoy, talking to people like yourself and getting instructors excited for the upcoming season.
So you really bring a well-rounded experience with the snow sliding industry to this part 3 of our Return Instructor Training series.
Yeah. Like you, George, and many of your listeners, I've been fortunate enough to experience returning instructor training, from multiple different angles. I've been that brand new, young, impressionable instructor, kind of chasing certifications, eager for the season. I've been the ski school director, sifting through all the applications, the trainer, delivering content on the snow, and the resort management, building those super fun HR slide decks that we've all sat through at one point or another in our snow sports career. So, and now as a member of the examination team in my administrative role for Central, I really get to see how all those pieces connect, and just how important they are for the buoyancy of our schools in Central and all over the country.
So can you start off with an importance of Return Instructor Training? We're actually really close to the season getting underway in a number of areas. Mount Hood had its first dusting of snow. Here in Natchez, Mississippi, it's probably going to hit about 90 degrees today. So
yeah.
But yeah, I would love to hear really kind of both sides of this on why is this an important part of beginning our season from the management side and from the return instructor side.
Absolutely. Yeah. We need to kind of flip the script, when a lot of people hear returning instructor training, it's kind of this dark cloud that looms over and everybody's like, oh, and it shouldn't have that reputation, but for some it does have this reputation for being this kind of monotonous, time-consuming thing that they're just required to show up for every year, go through the same motions, the same icebreakers, the same slide deck. And I think too often for some people, it feels like something they have to do versus something that they get to do. But if we stop there, I think that we're really missing out on what it can be. And what it can be is a really powerful opportunity. As far as like why we do it, right, the nitty-gritty from a management perspective, I see two kind of main umbrellas. I see the side that represents community and connection, right? When we build a community amongst our department, when we get everybody back together, for returning training, we're building a stronger school culture. And I think that culture then translates to what our guests ultimately feel on the hill. And I've seen resorts that they really, knock it out of the park, right? It feels like a celebration. It feels kind of like a kickoff party to the season almost. And something like that, it doesn't necessarily take a large budget. It just, takes a little bit of creativity and a little intent. And the result of that is instructors leave, buzzing with ideas and ultimately pride for their school and their resort that they represent. The other umbrella that I see is that safety and the preparedness aspect, speaking from my, former resort management hat. The reality of it is that the stuff that's covered, think the classroom type material, it's really important, especially for our younger and our newer instructors. Resort managers have to find a really creative way to capture the attention of those new employees and Velcro that information to their brains, because when it comes down to it, instructors, they need to know what to do in emergency situations. They need to know different protocols and processes that, their resort has in place. And those HR updates, they're not just bureaucracy. They set us up to communicate clearly and respond quickly when it really counts. It's not just professional development. It's really the foundation for the season. So that's kind of the resort management side of my brain. As far as the instructor side of my brain, right? I think about everybody getting ready to put their boots on the snow here, pretty soon. We have to kind of retrain our brains that this is an opportunity and it's less of an obligation. We have to remember that we're not just here to go through the motions. We're not just here to regurgitate the same role-played lesson year after year and just get cleared to teach, get your uniform, and you're out the door. No, that's not necessarily what it should be about. It should be about, when we revisit the progression, when we think about the actual steps that we take to teach somebody how to ski or snowboard, wherever they are in their journey of learning and improving their skill set. It shouldn't feel like monotony. It's really a chance to ask, why do we start here, right? And I challenge everyone to think about that before you get on snow this season, and take it a step further and say, how can I make this progression come alive for today's students? How can I deliver this better than I did last season? Where should I start that will set this individual student up for success? Because training shouldn't be about memorizing the same old steps. We shouldn't be swallowing the manuals and spitting them up the exact same way for every student that we teach. It should be about preparing yourself to be able to adapt and to personalize and inspire. George, and we all know that our industry is not static. It's ever changing. And our students are changing too, and the tools that we have at our fingertips are changing, especially. So therefore, our teaching, in my opinion, has to evolve too. We should be asking ourselves, how can we take tools like video and movement analysis and things like that to make this lesson even better? How can we start learning how to deliver more clear, more tangible feedback for our students? How can we become better at things like two-way communication during our lessons? And then lastly, something that I think is really important is, how can we influence someone else's confidence in themselves? Because that's, in my opinion, really what it's all about. And I think that that's such an incredible and fragile opportunity that we have as instructors, because if you do it correctly, we can engage them in the sport for life. So, yeah.
Lindsay, I want to say, I feel you just put a really unique and very well said, well stated definition or example of lifelong learning. That's so easy to look at and think of that as, continuing my technical skills. You just showed us or spoke about so many different ways that we can continue to grow and improve. That's what lifelong learning is really all about, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that returning instructor training every year is our chance to retool and refocus, and to make sure that we're all ready for what's coming, and not just what we've always done. I think about, how time feels kind of different as we age. And as kids, time felt slow because every day there was something new, and our brains were constantly soaking up fresh experiences. And as adults, life gets very routine and time flies because we're just kind of repeating those same cycles. As instructors, we have a really cool thing that we have the power to flip that script. And this winter, I think that we should all challenge ourselves, to slow down a little bit, to notice, to try something new, to break that routine. Don't just show up, go through the motions, plan on teaching in a straight line. Don't be afraid to make some squiggles, explore, play, because when we do that, we're really growing as professionals, and our students are able to learn more deeply too. So returning instructor training that's what it should ignite in all of us, not an obligation, but an opportunity. And I think that this season, we should really try to all just rediscover that joy that brought us here in the first place.
Where is your return instructor boots on the snow going to be happening this year, Lindsay?
I'll be leading some training over at Cascade Mountain, which is outside of South Central Wisconsin, kind of Madison area. And then examiner training for Central Region. We actually have 2 of them this year because in the Midwest, we have this giant lake that sits smack dab in the middle. So we have to split up our staff to train on either side of the lake. So I'll be training with my fellow snowboard central team at Boyne Mountain, so northern Michigan area.
Lindsay, it's been great getting to chat with you. I wish you a great season, and thank you so much for sharing your insights.
Yeah, thank you, George. Thanks for having me.
From the PSIA-AASI Satellite Studios in Natchez, Mississippi, I'm George Thomas. Thanks for listening to First Chair.